how about that? Not too bad out of me this past week. Did not miss a single fight. Ended up going 13-0. I'm going to recap the entire card. Me going undefeated drastically impacted my viewing experience for this card, but I will say, despite how happy I was with every single outcome, because it's what I predicted, the fight quality was pretty low. It wasn't great. So I'm going to recap the entire card. Some good fights in there, a lot of stuff that I got right. There was some stuff that I got wrong. I'm just going to go through fight by fight, kind of recap how I did and then how the overall fight was. Starting with the first fight in Chanel Dyer and Ravina Oliveira. Chanel Dyer gets it done by second round knockout. This is exactly what I predicted. Wasn't super crazy about betting on this fight, but Dyer KO decision actually does end up hitting. Chanel Dyer, good win. Great way to kick off the card. A finish in women's MMA is always great. Ravina Oliveira probably looking outside the UFC for her next fight. She does not look UFC ready, but regardless, a good win from Chanel Dyer. The second fight on the card, Shamrock versus Kareem or Abdul Kareem Al Sawadi. This is another one. Two in a row to kick it off. Al Sawadi via unanimous decision. Exactly what happened. Yeah, I mean, pretty much what I was thinking. Shamrock was not able to take him down. I was surprised at the money shift in this fight too. Al Sawadi was minus 125, I think. Yeah, at the beginning of the week, and then was plus 100 come fight time. So was not crazy about that. And then the fight ends and Shamrock smacks him for some reason. That made no sense. But yeah, good win from Kareem Abdul Sawadi, I guess. But pretty unimpressed with either of these guys. Shamrock will probably get another shot in the UFC. He'll get another fight, but overall, really unimpressive stuff from either of these guys. The next fight, Louis Sutherland, Brando Perisic. This is, I mean, I was the first three fights. I was really thinking, I was like, am I not going to miss anything this card? But there was some things that actually the very next fight ended up not playing out how I thought it would. But Perisic, this one does end up how I predicted. Perisic wins by round one knockout. Yeah, Perisic money line under 2.5 rounds. I thought Louis Sutherland could maybe, just stay light and kind of extend this fight later and do what he could, but no, Perisic ended up being just overall the more skilled guy, the more dangerous guy, and this is somebody that the UFC should be matchmaking against Tai Tuivasa in Perth, not Sean Sheriff, because that matchup makes no sense. But Brando Perisic makes great sense. Hopefully, he's on that Perth card with the step up. Louis Sutherland. I mean, I guess he'll probably stay on the roster because he's somewhat entertaining. I was kind of right about that zero grappling base. He was shooting in for takedowns. It was like, what are we doing? Ends up getting reversed, beat up pretty badly. Good win from Brando Perisic. Kind of a good restart on the card or a pick back up of the momentum, I guess, from the Shamrock fight. But then we had Montas Contra versus Antonio Tricoli. And Montas wins, but it was by a grueling war, decision where I think judges had him losing the third, or two of the three judges had him losing round three. Montas KO sub does not happen. He does not find the finish, and the fight to go under 2.5 rounds does not happen. This was a really, really bad fight, especially in the third round. They were just hanging on to each other in the clinch up against the cage. The ref, I think, had to separate them twice or at least once. Not a good look. For Antonio Tricoli, please cut him from the UFC. And for Montas, if we're going to war with Antonio Tricoli and you cannot find a finish, now I get that he had moments where he had him hurt and he was able to knock him down, especially in that second round where it looked like it could have been over. But yeah, if you're Montas and you're going to you're going to a grueling 3 round decision, you're losing a round at all to Antonio Tricoli. Yeah, I mean, he's going to get a step up and he's going to get another fight in the UFC, but very, very unimpressed with this fight. And then the next fight, not as bad, but kind of. Mario Pinto, Felipe Franco. Mario Pinto gets it done, but by decision. The fight goes over 1.5 rounds, and Pinto is not able to find the finish. So off on both of those things here. How bad is the heavyweight? How bad is the heavyweight division? I knew it was bad, but is it really this bad that we have mid level? I mean, Felipe Franco, I could be wrong. Maybe he ends up having a decent career, but a mid-level to low-level light heavyweight just doesn't cut, moves up to heavyweight, and can stop almost all takedowns from Mario Pinto and drag it out. Now, granted, he didn't do anything in the entire fight. It was fairly boring. Mario Pinto, extremely low output, very patient. His coach is in the corner, trying to tell him after both the first and second round, we need to get going. You need to be more active. But he ends up just kind of doing what he needed to do to win. Not super crazy about that round. Not super crazy about that fight. Was really invested kind of in Mario Pinto. I thought he'd be one of these guys that would be kind of one of these next generation of heavyweights that was going to come in and make some noise. Not so sure about that right now, especially after that fight. Very unimpressive stuff, but regardless, he's able to get the win. The next fight after that, Nathaniel Wood and Loseni Kieta. This was one that I thought was, going to be maybe a little bit more exciting, but end up being pretty much on the money with this one. I picked him unanimous decision. It was a split decision. That first round was really the only one that was a toss up. Nathaniel Wood, like I said, did what I thought he would: grind out a win and do exactly just enough to win the fight. Kieta definitely landed the more damaging shots and shots that looked like they hurt more. But Nathaniel Wood outvolumed him. He did some great work with the calf kicks. Was able to kind of dead leg Kieta, and yeah, during fight time was up to plus 225. I think I doubled down on Nathaniel Wood, and then the fight to go over 1.5 rounds, I think made sense. Kieta's still a good fighter. I think both of these guys will end up probably being ranked at some point. For Nathaniel Wood, you probably have to give him somebody in the rankings, but we'll talk about it later with the main event, which there was a lot of controversy too. But it's hard for the UFC to give top 15 shots to these guys that are just scraping by in every single one of their fights. So, yeah, on the money, stayed undefeated. This is kind of the part of the card where I was like, all right, we might have something here. Kieta, decent debut. He looked good, but just didn't do enough to get it done. The next fight, Mason Jones, Axel Sola. This was a fantastic fight. It's going to be a fight of the year contenders. 100% fight of the night, no doubt about it. Mason Jones, Axel Sola, I said it in the breakdown. Didn't know much about either of these guys, but boy, do I know a bunch about Mason Jones now, and boy, am I a fan. This fight ends up, complete greens on the screen. Jones gets it done by unanimous decision. Moneyline at minus 125 and over on significant strikes. You bet that hit because oh my goodness, was there a lot in this fight. This was an absolute banger. Axel Sola lands that spinning elbow, but really outside of that spinning elbow that dropped to Mason Jones, and one judge even gave Mason Jones round one despite getting dropped, which I thought was a little bit much. But outside of the spinning elbow that Axel Sola had, there wasn't really many moments for him throughout the rest of the fight. Mason Jones kind of, outside of that one moment, took over the fight, did exactly what he needed to do. Scrappy, take one, give one, gets it done. Super entertaining fight. He's definitely got a new fan in me, and I feel like a lot of people definitely feel the same way. Then we transition to the main card, Curtis Campbell versus Danny Silva. This was the fight where I was like, okay, if it's gonna happen, we need this. This is like if this goes our way, then we could be looking. We could really be cooking. It ended up being a pretty good fight. I was very worried after the first round. Curtis Campbell looked like he had a significant grappling edge. Danny Silva was able to get some nice reversals, find his way back to the feet, but then even on the feet, Danny Silva did not. He looked like he was a slight step below Curtis Campbell, and Curtis Campbell was able to land some good shots. I thought for sure he was going to find a submission in that first round. Danny Silva survives, makes to the second round, and then snipes Curtis Campbell, knocks him out like 3 times. He got dropped, stood back up, dropped, stood back up, and then dropped third time for good. Silva money line hit, and then Silva over on significant strikes. I thought hey, I didn't know he had this level of, sniper power kind of ability, but he did. He ended up getting it done in the second round. I think it was under 1.5 rounds too. So Silva gets it done, but by knockout, not by unanimous decision. Good fight. This is, like I said, was the point in the card where I was like, okay, like after this happened, I was freaking out a little bit because it was all really downhill, all favorites from here that I picked. And then that's kind of what ended up happening. The next fight, Roman Dolidze and Christian Leroy Duncan. This is kind of just a classic Roman Dolidze fight where he just got beat. Uh, was able to find some takedowns, but was never able to do anything with them. Christian Leroy Duncan was way faster, looked way more athletic. Not sure what Roman Dolidze is going to do after this. I don't know. Christian Leroy Duncan, I'm sure he'll probably get another shot up in the rankings. But yeah, he was able to get it done by unanimous decision. That first round was close, and the third round was close as well. I think he clearly won the second, but he did enough to win the fight. It's Christian Leroy Duncan KO decision at minus 350. That ends up hitting as well. The next fight on the card, Iwo Baranowski versus Austin Lane. Couldn't have been more right on this one. All greens on the screen as well. This was probably the best fight on the main card, I believe. I don't think there was anything else. The Danny Silva fight was great, but Iwo Baranowski comes in, wakes up the crowd a little bit. First round knockout. I don't even know how quick it was. It was like a minute, 2 minutes. Um, you know, like the second exchange of the entire fight just kind of gets him with the right hook. Drops Austin Lane for Austin Lane. Got to get him out of the UFC. You got to. There's no reason why he should be in the UFC. It makes no sense. He is not winning. He's not entertaining. The only way he is entertaining is by him getting constantly knocked out by these guys that are actually skillful and should be in the UFC. But yeah, Ewo round one knockout, fight to end in round one, and Ewo KO sub. All end up hitting. Like I said in the breakdown, any combination of the fight ending early and Iwo Baranowski winning. If you can throw those together, you should have a winning bet. And that's what ended up happening. The next fight, Michael Venom Page versus Sam Patterson. I, was very keen on this fight going the distance. I did not think Sam Patterson had the level of grappling that it takes to take down Michael Venom Page. And with MVP, if you can't take him down, there needs to be a certain level of grappling to be able to do what you know Ian Gary did to MVP. You need to have a certain level of fight IQ that Sam Patterson just didn't have. And he's a really good fighter. And I'm not sure what's going to be next for him. He's not going to, get a shot inside the rankings. But for MVP, I don't know what's next for you either, because you clearly don't care about your career and moving up in the rankings and fighting up. He kind of just is this big showman that only cares about putting on a show, but then he gets in the octagon and he does what he did in this fight, dances around. I think it was, 24 significant strikes or something like that. But yeah, I mean, he gets the job done. Unanimous decision, fight to go the distance at plus 125 hits, and his money line at minus 190 hits as well. Just kind of this is what some people find entertaining, but I have a feeling a lot of people did not find entertaining. And for somebody in MVP that wants to be super critical of the UFC and then go out and perform like this, not a great look for you. But regardless, we stay undefeated. And then we go on to the co-main event, Luke Riley and Michael Aswell. This was a tough, Luke Riley gets it done by unanimous decision, not second round knockout as I predicted. Michael Aswell's not bad. He outlanded Luke Riley actually significantly, but Luke Riley just did so much more damage in every single exchange. Luke Riley has a great chin and great power, and that's what ended up, getting it done. The technical ability was not really on display and looked like it still needs to prove, but the takedown defense was great. I don't think Michael Aswell landed a single takedown. And yeah, Luke Riley at Moneyline gets it done. Fight did not end in a KO. Luke Riley's chin is way too good, and apparently so is Michael Aswell's. And then Aswell under on significant strikes also did not hit because the fight, like I said, went the distance, and he ended up outlanding Luke Riley as well. So decent fight. Luke Riley should be looking up. I mean, your guess is as good as mine for who the UFC is going to have lined up for him next. Michael Oswell Jr. should stay in the UFC, in my opinion. He's a good fighter. His losses come to Luke Riley, and then he lost to Balaji Oki, up a weight class too. Keep him in the UFC. He's a decent fighter. He should be a decent guy at 145. But the main event, Movsar Evloev and Lerone Murphy, super controversial. Evloev ends up getting it done, not by unanimous decision. I still have it green, but it was majority decision. I don't know. This is tough, and people are complaining. I think at the very least, even if you are the biggest Lerone Murphy fan, you can admit that it should have been a 47-47 draw. then if you eliminate the point being taken and you just kind of roll with how the fight played out, is it really that crazy to say Movsar wins? Now, once he got the point taken, I thought it was over for sure. The ref took the point, and I said, "It's." I remember I sent a text to one of my friends and said, "It's over. It's over. The undefeated streak, everything that I had, completely done." But winning round one was crazy to me. Winning round two, I think there's an argument. Now, I watched the main event with the commentary off. I'm not sure what it would have been like if I watched with the commentary on and I heard the crowd, because obviously they were big time backing Lerone Murphy, and sometimes that can kind of sway your decision on who you think won the fight. But Mobstar winning the second round was not, I don't think that was crazy. Now, maybe I need to rewatch the fight. I think him winning the first round was crazy, but to say he won the second, it was a toss. It was a lot more of a toss up, than I think. I think he won the third round. I think he easily won the fourth round, but it was a 9-9 because he got the point taken. I think he easily, I mean, there's no doubt he easily won the fifth round. Didn't implement grappling until late. Not sure what that's about, because clearly Ron Murphy did not have much resistance. But what is the UFC going to do now? Because it was already a Movsar needs to make a statement to get the belt or to get a title shot, and now he goes out and everybody's saying that he gets a robbery decision win and he's not able to find a finish, and it's his 10th straight decision in the UFC. He still has not gotten a finish since 2018. So are they going to still give him a title shot against Volkanovski? I think Volkanovski mops the floor with him, especially if he has this sort of game plan going into a Volkanovski fight to just stand in exchange for the first two rounds. No shot you're going to be able to beat Volkanovski. Or do they just roll with Gene Silva and say, Movsar, you can just wait? Because I think as a UFC fan, as a Fighting Nerds fan, as an overall fan of entertainment, I'm cool with it. A lot of people probably won't be, and this is kind of one of those matchups where if they pass on Movsar, there are going to be some people that are upset, but I will not be. You know, we have to be entertaining. The UFC's got to make entertaining fights, and merit should exist still, and I think it does to an extent. But at the same time, you have to make a statement to get a title shot. You can't just be eking out wins, getting robbery wins over these guys. And if Lerone Murphy won, I think I'd still be saying the same thing. Especially, if it was. And what happens if the fight was a draw? Then what are they supposed to do? Then are people okay with Volk getting the shot? So you're not or with, I'm sorry, Gene Silva getting the shot. So if it's a draw and Gene gets the shot, are you okay with it? Probably. But then Movsar somehow wins a very close decision, and now you're not okay with Gene Silva getting the shot? I don't know. I would probably look to give Gene the shot if I'm being quite honest, but overall, shaky fight. I was extremely happy with the outcome. Ended up capping off the 13-0 run. I've never done this in my years of watching, in picking UFC. I've never gotten a fight, an entire card completely right. So that was pretty awesome, and it's all on YouTube to be documented. So that's also pretty cool. But overall recap: high value wise, Delidze sub no, as well Riley and KO no. But then all three of the underdog picks obviously hit because not a single pick was missed. But parlay legs, once again, all green there. Pinto KO sub, I think screwed over a lot of people. But that was the only one really that ended up not playing out how I thought it would. Everything else kind of just fell into place, and it ended up being a pretty good day for me. Total picks recap: 13-0, added on to 70, so 83 and 26 overall. 26-7 on numbered events still, and then main event 6-2. Fight nights 47-19. Pretty good card. We got a good one coming up on the Seattle Adesanya versus Joe Pyfer. Should be a banger. Some decent fights in there. We'll see. I will be posting a breakdown of that card, hopefully on Friday, if not on Saturday, right before the fight. And then I will be making a recap. I'm going to try and get out. I think I'm going to do a featherweight matchmaking video. Either that or prospects video. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm going to try and get out a video. I've been saying this for a month now. I'm going to try and get out a video that's not a breakdown or recap. But for now, yeah, hopefully, if you are one of the 6 people that watched the video that I posted before the fight, uh, thank you and congratulations. Because if you listen to me in any capacity, I don't think I steered you wrong, really, the entire card pick wise. So, yeah, thank you guys for watching, and hopefully I will see you guys sometime in the midweek. And if not, I'll see you guys at the end of the week for the breakdown of the Seattle card. See you.